Last time on My Hero Academia Vigilantes, the fight against number 6 reached its conclusion as the heroes showed up on the scene. But number 6 went after Koichi for one final time. But Koichi only wanted to help number 6. So number 6 defiantly scratched Koichi's face in order to give him something to remember him by, and then self-destructed to make sure Koichi would remember the one person he couldn't save. But it almost looks as though Koichi was taken out by the explosion, as he's found by Eraserhead. Has the hero of Naruhito fallen? Or is it simply that his hearing days are done? Let's find out. Alright, so we're picking up in the hospital, I believe. Sukauchi is talking to someone saying, "It's been 2 weeks since that night, but the investigation and cleanup have barely begun. The Naruhito lockdown was a grave affair. It goes without saying that the giant villain caused widespread destruction, but this meticulous and devious scheme to isolate an inner city neighborhood was a new type of villain tactic that exploited a blind spot in hero society." There he is. Okay, yeah, he's talking to Koichi, who thankfully made it out okay. Alright. That night you were treated as a villain on the run and got caught by pro-heroes before being dragged into a battle against that mob of villains. You were ordered to leave the scene and be a messenger, but you endured further villain attack along the way. That about sums it up. The heroes and I were responsible for you throughout all that. Now we're awaiting our punishment. As a result of your impulsive decision to dive back into the battle, Naruhito suffered massive damage. Koichi laughs a little bit nervously. So I guess that means I'm headed for the slammer, right? My Hero Academia Vigilantes, episode 124, Something to Say. Sukauchi responds, "The only silver lining is that there were no civilian casualties. I guess we could call that an achievement of yours. But Koichi, poking at the bandage over the scratch he got from number 6, says, speaking of victims, Sukauchi realizes, the scarred man who blew himself up while you watched. In the aftermath, our investigation turned up only bits and pieces of him. Much like with the other bomber villains, we had trouble identifying him." Koichi states, "Oh, I see." Meanwhile, the cat police officer Sansa is trying desperately to hold back somebody, saying, "Excuse me, you really can't come in here." But no, Captain Celebrity bursts through the door and says, "Attention, Japanese police guys. This unjust interrogation of my sidekick needs to end right now." Koichi says, "Huh? Captain Celebrity?" Sansa says, "You know we can't honor that request. Koichi Himawara is a material witness to villainous events." Captain Celebrity says, "I refute that claim. Are you looking to cause an international incident?" Sansa shouts, "You have to leave the room, sir." Koichi is stunned, saying, "What are you doing here, Cap? And sidekick? Who's that?" Sukauchi says, "It's okay, Sansa. Show yourself, Makoto." And sure enough, in comes Sukauchi's sister, saying, "Well, hello there to you too, big brother." Koichi's surprised, saying, Makoto." And Captain Celebrity is equally surprised, saying, "He's your brother, Makoto? It's an honor, sir." Makoto says, "Detective Sukauchi, are you aware that Koichi Imawara is employed by Captain Celebrity?" Koichi is confused, saying, "I'm what now? I work for him?" Captain Celebrity whispers over to Koichi, "Listen, you, remember all those lunches and snacks you ate in the green room at Narufest? My agency ponied up the cash for that catering. I was paying you in food, and your exploits at the Sky Egg? Let's say you were on the clock working for me." I was trying to sweep it all under the rug. Furthermore, any number of Naruhito locals can easily confirm. I guess this is Makoto saying, "Furthermore, any number of Naruhito locals can easily confirm that these two collaborated while out on patrol." This is true. Sukauchi says, "You always were good at this sort of quibbling and hand-waving." Makoto says, "I object to the accusation of quibbling," and Sukauchi interrupts and says, "Fine, you've made your point. All this hot air you're blowing, is it actually going to benefit him?" Makoto sweats a little and says, "I've got this." Makoto says, "So our suggestion is for the CC Corporation to provide protection for you, Koichi, and Pop as well." Koichi realizes, "Pop, how's she doing? They keep telling me that I can't see her yet." Makoto looks dejected and says, her condition? Well, that night, right when you were hurt big time, she woke up. What she went through affected her brain, and the long coma left her physically drained. But she was finally ready to get out of bed today, and so Pop is wheeled in a wheelchair holding a bag. Koichi says to her, hey, good to see you. But Pop doesn't respond. Tsukuuchi addresses her, Kazuho Henyama. Like many other instant villains, you were a victim affected by drugs and the mind control properties of a villain's quirk, at least as far as the authorities are concerned. Once you feel up to it, we'll have to get a complete statement from you. Just know that we're not out to prosecute, only to show that you two are innocent of wrongdoing. For now, take it easy and focus on your recovery. Tsukuuchi is a good cap. Pop nods, and Koichi, delighted, says, gee, thanks. Captain Celebrity addresses it and says, ever the flippant one, you? Koichi, kind of realizing to a certain degree that he made a mistake and smiling about that, says, oop. Tsukuuchi says, your blunders are definitely part of the equation. Captain Celebrity says, you're not out of the woods yet, so look sharp in the meantime, sidekick. Makoto speaks to Pop and says, I think that's enough for today, Pop. Unless there's something you'd like to say to Koichi. Koichi says, nah, it can wait. Don't push yourself. I think we're both stuck in the hospital for a while anyway. Pop kind of silently says, here, handing over the bag. Koichi says, huh? What's that? And as he opens it up, it's an All Might hoodie. Koichi is surprised and says, whoa, I didn't have this one yet. Is this for me? Dang, great job finding this. Pop kind of stutters and says, just had it at home. Koichi says, cool, thanks a lot. And with a beat-up smile, he says, I won't be wearing these things anymore, but it'll make for a great keepsake. Pop looks a little bit shocked as Makoto says, right, you're hanging up the proverbial cape then? Koichi says, more or less. I pretty much learned my lesson. Might be time for me to grow up and get serious. And Tsukuuchi says, yes, you'd better. Man, this series really has turned Tsukuuchi into such a wet blanket, but he's a cop. And as everyone leaves Koichi's room, Makoto says to Pop, wasn't that nice, Pop, getting to see Koichi? You've both been through so much lately, but you're alive and kicking, and I'm sure you'll heal up fast. Once you're out of here, we'll find you someplace quiet to rest and relax. But Pop seems dissatisfied with this and grips her wheelchair, halting it. Makoto says, what's wrong? And Pop says, I gotta go, as she stumbles out of the wheelchair, running back to Koichi's room. Makoto says, careful, Pop. And as Pop stumbles to the ground, she says, I barely said a word to him. Her glasses falling off. She thinks, thank you as always. Sorry about everything I did. You're my hero. Just stay the way you are, and I've always have, and I always will. She burst into Koichi's room, screaming his name, and, oh my god, and Koichi is changing it into the All Might hoodie she just got him. He looks embarrassed back at her. Pop shakingly says, what are you doing? And Koichi embarrassingly says, who? Me? Well, I was just staring at the hoodie and just couldn't help myself. And Pop says, are you kidding me? As tears fall from her eye, and she falls to the ground and says, how stupid can one guy be? And she goes rushing into Koichi's arms. Makoto also enters the room as Koichi is gripping Pop as he says, you okay? Well, Pop is gripping Koichi, I could say, and she's crying in his arms. Makoto is also tearing up, saying, Koichi, you knucklehead, what happened to learning your lesson? Koichi says to her, no, I mean, I had to try it on. Lesson learned, though, I swear. But Makoto, touching his back, feels something, and Koichi wonders as Makoto says, you liar. Remember, her quirk is polygraph. She can always tell when someone's lying. Makoto snaps her fingers for Captain Celebrity to step and says, boss, time for plan B. Give me that contract. Captain Celebrity pulls out the briefcase, saying, sure thing. As Makoto pulls out several documents, she says, here we go, Koichi. Sign here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Koichi, just signing away, says, why am I signing a contract? What am I agreeing to? Koichi, read the contract. Jesus Christ. And as Pop Step is bewildered, Tsukuuchi looks like he knows what she's up to, and Sansa has Pop's glasses. Captain Celebrity is just off to the side saying, Koichi, my boy. And he cries and thinks, always one to go with the flow. Koichi looks over at Captain Celebrity and says, whoa, You okay, Cap? As Makoto says, and here. And Koichi sighs and says, huh? So, I get the feeling everything's going to be okay. Everything always works out okay when Makoto is involved. It might be dubious in terms of legality, but it usually works out okay. I'm just wondering what Makoto's plan is here. I feel that she sees the potential for maximum profitability. But again, we haven't seen Koichi in the main story, so that really makes me wonder what goes on in terms of his character. There's a lot of hand-waving of certain events, but it's a tough situation because the thing is, Koichi saved a lot of lives in what he was doing, and a lot of the people of Narahita saw him actively working with the hero, and to just arrest him, that would cause an incident. A lot of this is thinking about public reaction and outcry, as well as what their laws can determine. Because Koichi, in the normal situation, would immediately be arrested for vigilantism. The fact that nobody was hurt is a great thing for him, but he would still be arrested and fined out the butt. And just chalking a lot of that up to vigilantism, I mean, he was actively working with Eraserhead. That's a bit of a situation, but Makoto coming in and saying, oh, he's a sidekick, that can be dubious too, because he doesn't have a hero license or anything like that. So, but saying that he's Captain Celebrity Sidekick, legal things in America can be a little bit dubious as well, because we don't know how the legality of superheroes in America can work. Koichi is a Japanese citizen, working under an American superhero, so who knows how that might come into effect. But it's good to find out that Koichi wasn't going to completely hang it up. He hasn't learned his lesson whatsoever, of course. But I'm wondering, is Pop going to fully tell him how she feels? Like, that's the big thing. The reunion is beautiful, it's great, but I feel like there needs to be a little bit more on how she feels. But I'm glad everything for the most part has worked out. I do wonder, what's Koichi's future looking like? Because that's the biggest thing on most people's mind. What happens to Koichi? There was always the potential of him dying, honestly. Like, that's the funny thing. By us knowing the future after this series, and knowing that Koichi just isn't mentioned by anyone, it raises so many questions. Will Koichi go to America? Will Pop follow him? What happened to Knuckle Duster? We know he lived. Is he simply with his daughter? Not to mention the whole thing with All for One went a lot deeper than Knuckle Duster knew. Will he look further into it? Who number 6 truly was? You know, we also know he doesn't show up in the current continuity as well, so there are a lot of questions here. Not to mention, did Pop really lose her eye? That's really unfortunate if that's the case. Like, there are a lot of repercussions to everything that happened to the two of them, and it really does beg the question, where are they now? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. What is the contract that Koichi is signing? Did he end up in America? Or is he simply on the outskirts of Japan and we simply haven't seen him yet? Did Pop stay with Koichi? Or is she living her own life? And is Knuckle Duster fully settled down? Or did he try to continue investigating All for One to find out more about number 6? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe so that way you don't miss out on the next one. Or don't, I ain't your daddy, but I still love you like one. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye!